Friday, May 17th, 2024. And ooh, oh, the ladies on The View were fired up today. Um, they started with the story of a congressional House Oversight Committee meeting, I think, that happened last night. And it happened at night because too many members were at Donald Trump's trial during the day and not at their jobs, which is just disgusting to begin with. Um, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, in all of her, hillbilliness, insulted one of the members of Congress, an African American woman Crockett. I can't remember her first name. Jasmine Crockett. Anyway, um, and they wouldn't. Uh, they wouldn't mark that down as a rule violation. So AOC got into it, and Crockett goes back to the chair of the committee is Comer. Is it Comer? Old hillbilly white man. Um, and in the process of asking, well, what is too far, gives the best fucking takedown of an insult of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And this is the first time. Then the women on the panel all start on the View all started fighting about why it was inappropriate or how it was inappropriate or what you should do. And of course, Alyssa's like, "What are we teaching our children?" Well, the parents are supposed to teach the children. If your children are learning how to behave by watching congressional hearings on C-SPAN, there's so many layers of why that's wrong. So shut up, Alyssa. And then she's like, don't go lower when someone goes low. No, fuck that. We've had enough go high. When they go low, we go high. Fuck that. No, we need people who are gonna fucking fight. And this is the first time where I think I agreed with Sarah, like through the whole show. Because her point was, no, they weren't following the rules. So by and what Crockett did was use the actual rule process to take down the bully opponent in the room, um, like more strategically and more swiftly and more adeptly and more with more wordsmanship uh, than the original bully could ever come up with. Marjorie Taylor Greene can't is not that smart. She's so it, the way it worked out. Um, and that poor old man, he's like, "What the fuck is going on in this committee?" Well, it's because you didn't enforce the rules, dum dum. And yes, they should all be held accountable for their words and actions. So it was kind of a hoot. Joy was getting mad. um, Sonny multiple times was like, "No, Alyssa, you got to go low." It was kind of hilarious. Uh, and then and they're talking about the flag that was um, on the flagpole upside down at Alito's house right after the insurrection, which is a stop the steal um, symbol. And he was like, "Oh no, my wife did that because she was mad about yard signs in the neighborhood, which were anti-Trump signs." Which as a Supreme Court justice, you're supposed to be impartial or nonpartisan. So that's all bullshit. I don't believe that it was his wife who did it, and um, but again, I agreed with Sarah. She's like, well, it's probably a lie, but um, you know, if it's even if it is the wife, you're the wife of a Supreme Court justice. You need to be held to a little more state of decorum. And they all yelled about Clarence Thomas, and that all fell apart, and they were all getting all over each other. And it's like somebody goes, um, somebody yelled out, "What?" Uh, and a code of ethics, blah blah. And I was like, okay, like they're just shouting things at this point. Excuse me. It was kind of hilarious. Um, but there should be oversight of the Supreme Court, and there is. It's the Senate, but right now the Republicans control the Senate, so they're not going to do anything about it. So if we get a Democratic-controlled Senate next year, perhaps they can do something about um, potentially impeaching Clarence Thomas because he's clearly guilty of a lot of rule violations. Um, And I don't give a flying fuck if Ben and Jen break up again. I don't care. But why do people talk about them? What I don't understand, like we haven't talked at all on this program about Michael Cohen's testimony and him kind of flubbing it up yesterday for the prosecution. Which I don't know, maybe they can fix that on redirect, but I feel like he just lost that case uh, on his cross examination of the phone call um, about a 14-year-old harassing him. It's like, come on, dude. Like, it, he just seems like a walking pile of shit, soiling everything that he touches. Which would make sense why he's around Trump because he is walking around with shit in his pants. Anyway, um, we're not talking about the fact that Trump tried to extort $1 billion out of oil executives with the promise that he will undo all their regulations if he's president. Like, how? I mean, I know it's a tit for tat kind of thing, but it's just so blatant. There must can't there be rules about this? I mean, it, it's just so beyond the pale that it's like how that can't be legal. Um, and if it is, why is it? There's so many things we have to fix, and I mean, it's just about getting through this fucking election if we can fucking survive. Um, and what else? We're not going to talk about that. Oh my God, that portrait of King Charles, where he looks like he's floating in the ninth circle of hell, like like Meghan Markle commissioned it. Um, there's so many other things we could be talking about besides Bennifer. Um, anyway, I guess we're not going to talk about those things this week. That's a Friday. Have a great freaking weekend.